And welcome to a special edition of Wyoming Sports Talk today on Periscope, via Twitter, and YouTube, being brought to you by Taco John's of Cheyenne. Again, during this time, you can get drive-through service over at Taco John's on KRAE Avenue on Yellowstone Road at the corner of Dell Range and Ridge, Pershing and Ridge, and again on the South Greeley Highway. We also want to thank Kia of Cheyenne on Nation Way. Platte Valley Bank with two locations again to use the drive-through over on the corner of Pershing and College and on Vandehigh. Chick-fil-A at Windmill and Dell Range, right across from Powers Field and Menards. Again, two convenient drive-throughs again, and curbside service also available. Make sure you call Ray and Cindy, the crew, over at Chick-fil-A, open Monday through Saturday. Medicap Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical needs with a convenient drive-through, open Monday through Saturday. Medicap Pharmacy. B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue. Bruce and the crew invite you to come on by. They're open for business. Lennox Auto Body, the main repair center on Dunn Avenue, and the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard. Remember, it's not clean until it's Lennox clean, part of the Lennox family. Again, serving our community needs for over a quarter century. First Tier Bank at 1508 Stillwater Avenue, open Monday through Friday. And Mondello's Pizzeria, where Joe has been serving up delicious Paisan cuisine, now going into his fifth decade. Again, offering takeout and curbside service. Call Mondello's Pizzeria, open Monday through Sunday, noon until 8. And our show always brought to you by Pepsi of Cheyenne. Our first guest coming up after we take a timeout right here.
Well, before we go into that, again, usually we do have a scoreboard, but
I'm not even going to go into the scoreboard.
There is no scoreboard. However, though, do want to remind folks, and again, say thank you to the folks who did tune in this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had 4 days, straight games, about 24 hours of content. Again, it was the 1480 KRAE Virtual March Madness live stream as we did the first and second rounds, again, brought to you on NCAA Basketball 10, which is played on the PS3. So, again, video live stream that. So, again, I think for all 4 days we had about 5,000 viewers on both Periscope and YouTube. So, again, thank you all who did tune in. I want to remind folks that we will continue Sweet 16 Elite 8 action, again, as it will be CPU versus CPU simulations. Again, that's all it's been. We'll up the game time, so it'll be about 4-hour broadcast for Thursday and Friday for the Elite 8, 4 games per day. We'll break it down to the at least Elite 8 to at least have 2 games, at least Saturday and Sunday. So, again, more of those details will be posted online, whether it's at least on Twitter, at Nick Wild Sports, also to the 1480 KRAE or Wyoming Sports Talk Today Facebook pages. So, look for that. Again, as we're looking forward to doing that again this weekend, the virtual March Madness live stream, again, brought to you at least by us here at 1480 KRAE.
We have a lot of catching up to do. A lot of things have gone on since basically sports shut down. Maybe the sporting world, as far as games are concerned, have shut down, but a lot of behind-the-scenes action has happened. Matter of fact, our first guest is going to tip us off to what's going on in the football world in the city of Tampa, Florida, after we take a timeout on 1480 KRAE. And welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Larry Proetti along with Nick Proetti. As again, we are live streaming on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. We bring on our first guest, Greg Auman, Tampa Bay Buccaneers insider for The Athletic. Greg, thank you so much for joining us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Hey, happy to be on. Hope you guys are doing well.
We are doing well. Hey, we're not sick. That's a good thing. Hey, Greg,
Good start.
real quick, let's talk some football. And, of course, Tampa has been kind of the media darling as far as the NFL. And I guess we'll start right out landing one of the biggest free agent prizes in the offseason in one Tom Brady. Greg, can you kind of just, I guess in a condensed form, tell us how this all came about and how did Tom Brady end up being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer?
Yeah, it's obviously huge news here. Probably the biggest day for the Buccaneers since they won a Super Bowl 17 years ago. Certainly seemed unlikely, even a month or so ago. Just not only that he'd leave Patriots after 20 years, but that he'd come down here to Tampa. You're talking about somebody who's been to the playoffs almost every year in his career, coming to a team that hasn't been to the playoffs since 2007, hasn't won in the playoffs since 2003. But once he made the decision to leave, it's just a matter of kind of outpacing the Chargers and a few other teams. And there's lots of reasons to see why he might like it here in Tampa. And looking forward to talking to him and getting more detail just about his thought process and his confidence here at Tampa moving forward.
Let me ask this question. Was money a deciding factor for Tom Brady to move on from the Patriots?
I don't think so. He's made, I don't know, $240 million just off football, lots more on the side. His wife has a net worth of $500 million. So I can't imagine money had much to do with it. I think he put himself in position to have an out and kind of have a fresh chapter at the end of his career. And this is what he has. I don't know that money has a whole lot to do with it either way.
I look at Brady coming to Tampa, and it kind of reminds us in our part of the world when Peyton Manning was signed on with the Denver Broncos, and they were trying to squeeze maybe 1-2 good years. Well, they ended up keeping him a little while longer, but you could tell that the skills diminished there his last couple seasons. But they did eventually get that Super Bowl for Peyton. With Tom Brady, the skills are still there, but what is the ultimate goal for Tampa? What are they going to try to squeeze out of Tom Brady here? A couple, 3 years? The guy is in phenomenal shape. So, I guess he can go as long as Father Time doesn't really catch up with him.
Yeah, he's talked a lot about wanting to play till he's 45. That'd be 3 years. The deal he signed is only 2 years. He's got an out after 2 years, can't be franchised or anything like that. There's never been a full-time 43-year-old starting quarterback in the NFL. So it's very much uncharted waters here. He did more last year than any 42-year-old ever had. But there's no telling. There has been a drop-off, as you mentioned. This past year in 19 was the first time he had missed the Pro Bowl in a healthy season since 2006. His quarterback rating has gone down. His overall numbers have gone down. But I do think some of the personnel he's been throwing to, there was a drop-off there. You notice the retirement of Rob Gronkowski, some of the injuries he had at receiver. If they get 2 great years out of him, I'm sure they'll be happy to decide whatever happens from there.
So, Greg, at least with this new signing of Tom Brady now being the head man there for the Buccaneers, is this a situation that fans down there in Tampa Bay, or at least Buccaneer fans in general, basically say, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl, we're winning the NFC South, or is it something of, hey, give it some time, we need to add a little bit more pieces, or are the Bucs ready to at least make it to the playoffs and go to the promised land?
Yeah, I don't think Brady would come here unless he thought this is a playoff team that can make a real run, which is obviously different from what Tampa's known for a long time here. But, they finished 7-9 last year. They went 5-3 in the second half, finished 3 games out of the wild card. But I think just the natural momentum of a second year with Bruce Arians, would have had them in position to be right there at 9 wins or so and competing for a wild card. So you add Tom Brady to that, and I think he's right there, putting them in the same conversation with Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints in terms of competing for an NFC South title. And again, whether it's as a wild card or as a division champ, I think if you can get yourself in the playoffs with Tom Brady as your quarterback, that's a much better conversation than they've been having in January in Tampa for a long time.
Well, and again, the guy who was as the head man out there in Tampa Bay for quite some time, no longer going to be the leader on that field for the Buccaneers. That'd be one Jameis Winston. What's kind of the story behind that departure out there in Tampa Bay, and also too of was it mixed feelings from organization and Jameis, or was it just it was time for him to move away from the franchise?
Yeah, I mean, he had 35 turnovers last year. I mean, 30 interceptions in a season is something nobody's done in 30 years. So, I think they went back and looked at things and just, thought about what they could do to coach that and correct that. And, even if you cut those numbers in half, you add 5 fumbles, you're still talking about 17 or 18 turnovers in a season. So, given the choice between paying and hoping that he can take a step forward that he didn't take this past year, and investing in Brady and hoping that he doesn't drop off at a considerable rate at age 43. I think they took their chances with a guy that's won 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah, part of the 30-30 club was one Jameis Winston. Let me ask you this question here, and we're talking with Greg Auman, Tampa Bay Buccaneers insider for The Athletic. So, again, as Jameis took to social media to thank the Tampa Bay fans, again, he's now a free agent on the market. Maybe a change of scenery for former Heisman Trophy winner. Are you getting any indications of anybody that is taking a look at Jameis, or in your opinion, is he a fit elsewhere?
Yeah, there's not a lot of good options for him. He didn't really have a clear path to a starting job wherever he goes. I think his best bet right now is going to be finding a place that has an unsure starter, whether it's a young quarterback. You look at Denver with Drew Lock, who has 5 career starts. You look at Jacksonville and Gardner Minshew, who had a great rookie year last year, but is still just a 6th-round pick. So if I were him, I would be looking for a place that there's a clear path to beating somebody out or having somebody falter, and give him the chance to get back on the field and show that he's better than he was, with the interceptions last year.
Jameis obviously being a starting quarterback for the Bucs during his time in Tampa. Obviously, wherever he lands, he's going to want to step in at that number 1 QB position. But is he really a starting quarterback, or is he a good number 2 guy, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's hard. No passer in the Super Bowl era has led the NFL in passing yards and then gone to a different team the next year. But that's what he's going to be doing. I think unless he's just being very patient, there hasn't really been an audience of teams that are willing to pay him like a starter, I'm guessing. So I don't know whether he finds a team this week and takes a chance there, or waits even until after the draft to make sure you've got kind of the best situation with another quarterback that you think you can beat or compete with in August. To be in the field. It's not a good position to be in, but we've kind of seen this was a possibility if the Bucs went another direction and some of those other more proven veteran quarterbacks got signed ahead of him.
You talk about the NFL draft, where, again, it's still looking like it's going to happen at the same, at least possible time, but again, just without fans, and again, more so just kind of behind closed doors, so to speak, which has kind of been what is happening across the nation, around the world with what is happening. But, with the upcoming potential NFL draft, in your opinion, Greg, what is the needs right now for Tampa Bay? What do we anticipate that they'll do in that first round of the NFL draft?
Yeah, I think the most pressing thing is finding the right tackle. The right tackle this past year, DeMar Dotson, was 34, unrestricted free agent. I think there's 4 good prospects at the top of this draft. Sometimes you see all 4 gone in the first 13 picks even. But could see them moving up a couple picks if the right guy falls into the 10, 11 range. If those 4 are all gone, or if they don't see a tackle they like at 14, I think they can take advantage of some of the defensive prospects that would fall as a result of that. Could be a D lineman like Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina, or a pass rusher like Caleb on Chason from LSU. They'll have good options to help themselves either on the offensive line or on the defensive front 7.
Are they looking pretty solid? And again, too, if I'm Tom Brady, I'm kind of licking my chops. You have a great wide receiver in Mike Evans, and you got Godwin as well. Is that also a possibility that the Bucs might be looking at one more of those fleet receivers to be a great target for Tom?
No, I don't know that he's ever had 2 receivers with the talent at the same time that he has in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He hasn't had a receiver go to the Pro Bowl since 2013. Both of them went this year with Tampa. Both went over 1,000 yards, were among the league leaders in touchdowns. 2 guys that really complement each other well. Chris Godwin is a great yards after the catch receiver, can make open moves in the open field, I should say. And Mike Evans is 6'5", is a great jump ball catcher, throw that corner lob in the end zone, great red zone threat. So no, he has two great ones there, and obviously O.J. Howard and Cam Braid has two tight ends that will benefit from him being there as well.
So you flip it over to the defensive side, and again, one thing that Tampa has had through the years, and again, even 7-9 this year, always had a steady Eddie type of defense. And again, being busy in the offseason with Jason Pierre-Paul and the re-signing of Shaquille Barrett. Tell me a little bit about how solid this defensive unit is going to be, that complement to the offense.
Yeah, they feel good about it here. I mean, I think they were a much better defense at the end of last year than at the beginning. I mean, they gave up close to 30 points a game in the first half of last season. Had a young secondary that kind of had to learn on the job. But up front, they're pretty strong. Had the number one run defense in the NFL. Two strong pass rushers. They brought back Shaq Barrett. He led the NFL in sacks with 19.5, set a team record. They felt very good about Jason Pierre-Paul coming back in the last 10 games after a neck fracture from a car accident last spring. Two really good inside linebackers. Levante David's been there for 8 years, and then they had a rookie next to him in Devin White from LSU. So, no, they like their defense. I think they feel like it'll be much better, be a top 10 defense. And obviously the defense will benefit if the offense isn't turning the ball over quite as much next year.
And final thought from me, Greg, and thank you so much for joining us today on Wyoming Sports Talk today. With the addition of Brady and, again, the free agent signings right now, and, again, looking at some stability there for Bruce Arians on both sides of the football, has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers kind of stamped themselves now as that team that can push aside New Orleans for that top spot in the South?
Yeah, I think they'd like to think so. I mean, again, I don't think Tom Brady comes here unless he thinks this is a team that makes a deep postseason run. I mean, this has been New Orleans' division for the last 3 years or so. They still got a great team with Breeze back, but I think the Bucs are probably the first team you'd think of as competing for that now. I don't know that Atlanta has been as active in upgrading this offseason. They swapped out tight ends and got Hayden Hurst. They added a good pass rusher in Dante Fowler, added a good back in Todd Gurley, but I don't know that they're like I said, I don't think they've made as big a step forward as the Bucs have. Carolina's kind of in a rebuild. They've lost so much talent from that team in the last year and a half. You get a new coach, a new quarterback. There's a lot of change there. So, no, I think the Bucs are right there and challenging not only for a playoff berth, but for a division title.
Greg, absolutely. We thank you so much for joining us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
All right, you guys take care. Stay safe.
All righty. Greg Auman, Tampa Bay Buccaneers insider for The Athletic. We will take a timeout and be right back here on KRAE.
If you're looking for fun and style, then the new 2019 Kia Optima has what you need. And here at Kia of Cheyenne, we can help you own one. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Optima will reward your daily drive with comfort, performance, and advanced engineering. Kia Optima technology, your phone allows access to remote lock or unlock, climate control, 24-hour roadside assistance, and much more. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com. We'll make it easy.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of the LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
And welcome back to KRAE as we are doing it live today.
As I say, welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today.
Wyoming Sports Talk today.
We're not on KRAE right now.
I know, but I'm so used to saying it. So again, we are on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We are live streaming today on Periscope via Twitter as well as on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you to Greg Auman for informing us a little bit on what's going on over in Tampa Bay. And again, right now they're the media darlings as far as football is concerned.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, that is a monster signing that they had. Again, no one anticipated that Tampa Bay would pick up Tom Brady, but they did. We'll see what happens where, again, he is, he's not in his prime. He's past it clearly. Again, we've seen him trend downwards, but, it is a Tampa Bay team that has the talent around him to kind of help him, at least, as you talk about Peyton Manning of what he was able to do in Denver, kind of looking at the similar situation right now in Tampa Bay with Tom Brady of, hey, you got to have that talent around you to kind of complement, your talent as well too, and we'll see what happens. Again, at least the New Orleans Saints still that top dog out there in the South, but can Tampa Bay vault over them? There's a good possibility. It's pretty much a two-team fight right now in the NFC South.
I would agree.
Carolina, Carolina's retooling.
Atlanta's still struggling.
Atlanta's, they're just kind of sitting idly by right now. But obviously the big question right now is, will we have an NFL season? Will that even go underway? It's all, time will only tell as, again, we go day by day on every situation right now where, sports keep on getting pushed back that much further with the start of baseball season, some other seasons looking to get back in May, June. We'll see by that time if we have it. But again, we'll see. But, news still happens, as we had breaking news here in town. Go figure today it happened where it was passed along in a press release from LCCC, this being from Troy Rumpf. Again, not a representative of the at least athletic department, but more of a media representative who passed along the PR message. If you've not seen on the social media sides, whether it was on Twitter or Facebook, that we posted about what was it, 2 hours ago is when this came across. But again, I'll read the at least news alert verbatim from Troy that says Laramie County Community College is transitioning the leadership of the men's basketball program with the departure of head coach Jason Ficca. The college thanks Coach Ficca for his time and energy devoted to the Golden Eagle student athletes. The men's basketball program will continue without disruption, with Dwayne Salisbury immediately taking over as the interim head men's basketball coach. We will keep you posted on the status of the permanent position replacement. Coach Ficca is being compensated and receiving benefits through the end of his contract term, which is June of this year. So, again, Dwayne Salisbury, assistant coach under head coach Jason Ficca, now the interim. Right. Again, there has not been a time outlined on that. And again, we will talk with interim AD Cindy Henning coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour, where she'll give us a little better understanding of what's going on. But, you look at the reading on the wall was there with this.
Was it writing on the wall?
Yeah, writing on the wall. Again, it's been a while. I've been burnt out of 24 hours of basketball. But, again, a 4-win season, 12 wins the previous year. Again, a program that's been kind of trending downwards, unfortunately, due to just, umpteenth amount of things that have happened, whether it was, players deciding not to play, players having issues, again,
players moving on.
Yeah, players moving on as well
to
too.
The next level. And again, Nick, you're looking at the second most winningest coach in LCCC history. Again, Woody Halverson, I think, has 360-plus wins as the all-time leader at LCCC. And Jason Ficca is ranked number 2. I do believe it's 209, 210 career wins. That's in 14 campaigns. And again, Dwayne Salisbury's been there for all 14 years with Jason Ficca. Again, the situation to keep Dwayne Salisbury on makes a lot of sense, just simply for the fact they're out looking for players. Again, you're losing 3 sophomores right out of the box.
You're looking, but as we understand, whether it is NCAA or NJCAA, again, those have been kind of frozen right now of visits and everything. So,
but you also you can still do like we're doing it here, live stream.
Yeah, you can still contact, but again, our understanding, or at least it's we'll get more information about that from Dr. Henning here coming up very shortly. Where what is the process here of what they can and can't do? But our understanding is that, hey, it's all kind of at a freeze right now until things pick back up or we get back into kind of more stable times around this planet. But you look at this situation, or at least what has happened.
The parting of the ways today.
The departure of Jay Safica, again, we extend our best wishes out to Jay. So we appreciate Coach of what he's done, whether it is post-game, pre-game, joining us here on the Coach's Show.
He's been a good friend for the last, since the 3 years that we've been on board.
And again, we're definitely hurt by seeing this because, again, absolutely, he's been a friend to us without a doubt. So we do extend our best wishes to Coach Ficca on his next venture, wherever that may be. And
I would expect him to be on a bench somewhere. Whether he decides to take the season off, I don't know. Again, we haven't had a chance to be in contact with Coach Ficca. I would venture to say
he just texted me a while back or a while
ago. I was going to say too that that I'm sure somebody will want to pick him up to be on the bench with him.
There's an opportunity, especially with some other head coaches shifting, especially around this area, where could he move on over to a guy who is. He knows Region 9 pretty well, who's now the head man over at Northern Colorado, that being Coach Steve Smiley, who, again, was the head coach or at least a coach up at Sheridan College, now the new head coach due to the fact that the former head coach, Jeff Linder, is out.
Which we'll get into that in a
is
little
the
bit.
new Wyoming head coach, which, again, has been all over the place. If you haven't heard it by now, granted, we've all been
Coach
isolated.
Allen
You've been all
Edwards is
isolated.
out.
But could that be a possibility, though, for Coach Ficca to reach out to Coach Smiley, join him on that bench out there where, again, he knows what he brings to the table. He's been a part of that Region 9. It's kind of that brotherhood of, hey, you know you can get it done. Here's his opportunity. He's a great mind. He knows how to win as well, too. Again, he has well over 200 wins at LCCC. He has – I think he
has a
off
wealth of basketball knowledge. Again, not his first rodeo as far as being on the sidelines as a coach or an assistant coach. So do I expect Coach Ficca to land somewhere else? Yeah. Absolutely. But again, I think it's at his pace whether he wants to rush into it right away or sit back and reflect. But just and kind of take a season off.
But here's my issue though with the news release that came out where. Again, our understanding, or at least, you look to it, it does not specify of whether he was fired or if it was a resignation on the part of Jason Ficco. Again, it was very vague terminology, which, again, we're hoping to get from Dr. Cindy Henning, or at least what she can kind of say at this point in time. But, again, the vagueness of was it a mutual parting, which it sounds like if you kind of read between the lines right? That it sounded like it was a mutual parting, that instead of firing, hey, instead we'll just buy out your contract and that's it. And then we're going to move on from the situation.
Well, the similar situation that if you're going to go that route, Alan Edwards was bought out of his last year of his contract over at the University of Wyoming, but he's let go, right?
Yeah.
So, again, different terminology here. Let's just right now leave it as a parting of the ways between the interim athletic director and the men's head basketball coach. Again, Dwayne Salisbury taking over the program on an interim basis. See, again, it's just like the interim athletic. Everything over there is interim. Interim athletic director, interim basketball coach.
They can't make a decision.
Well, it's like you know.
You leave things in a state of flux right now, or at least there's no guarantee. It's a college right now that again kind of frustrates us with the terminology, especially with some of these news release and again the interim titles out there where it's like make a definitive choice. You need stability over there. We haven't had stability in LCCC where again in this athletic department right now where so far we've seen the exit of we look at volleyball. New head coach with KRAE, again, where we saw Austin Albers take the new head, at least coach position down at CSU Pueblo. Jim Garner with him retiring as the women's soccer head coach. Now we have Nate Olness, his first year being part of the women's program. The only stability right now is Brian Ortmeyer with the women's basketball program and also Vince Gibson at men's soccer. But now you lose another coach, that being Jason Ficca, that now exits out, and now we have to figure out, who is going to be that new head man? Is it going to be Dwayne or is it going to be someone else?
As of today, it's Dwayne Salisbury.
Yeah.
He is the head coach as of today. Unfortunately, has the interim title.
But also, too, again, this is something that falls on that athletic department, i.e. being Dr. Cindy Henning right now, that interim AD over there, that you need to make a decision because now it depends on recruiting. It depends on those athletes of where some of those that we're loyal to Jason Ficca, loyal to that staff. Again, love Dwayne Salisbury, want to play for him. If you hire someone else on, are they going to transfer?
But also too, Nick,
there's a million things that can happen right now.
This is just 3 hours old, 3 hours plus old. And again, we don't know until we talk with Dr. Henning that maybe a national search is underway. Don't know. Again, or is Dwayne Salisbury the man that's going to be at least at the helm for a season with LCCC basketball, at least to keep the stability in place? Because, again, like I said, you have quite a few freshmen that may return.
Possibly.
And again, they obviously, before the COVID-19 situation, they were working. Or, again, you know as well as I do, all the coaches we talk to, recruiting's $365 a year. So, again, they had been looking at players, had been, I would venture to say, talking to potential players. And, again, with all the social media in play, I'm sure they've been looking at quite a bit of film that has been sent to them as well.
But it's also too interesting that now was the time where, again, we saw Allen Edwards exit pretty soon, or at least, 2 days after the end of the Mountain West Conference tournament, where, hey, it was decided, hey, bye-bye, we're going to move on.
But I think that writing was on – let's go back to Allen Edwards.
So, again, the Region 9 tournament, or at least that first-round game where LCCC exited out against Casper College, that happened weeks ago where, again, not knowing the exact, or at least what was going on behind the scenes, but why did it take this long? If that was already determined, why'd you drag this out?
Maybe it wasn't determined. There's a lot of things that could have happened between then and now. And again, you look back at that Region 9 game where they lost to Casper College, they were pretty competitive and being shorthanded without one Eric Oliver. Yeah. Think about that. You were without your number one player. Again, this is a team that was beset by injuries. Also, you had a couple players that were in and out of the lineup because of
suspensions,
grades, that type of deal, school problems. You lost a couple of players during the course of the year, too, that did not, come back to the team for one reason or another. But again,
but timing is very interesting on this decision, without a doubt. And also, too, again, timing is also, too, the big thing that's going to be kind of plaguing this position of you can't drag your feet on this. Because you got to make, again, if everything gets well as we're assuming here within a couple months, basketball as we stand right now is about 7 months away. So still plenty of time to start up the regular season, or at least get everything in place. But again, you need to get those recruits kind of locked and sealed well beforehand.
Right.
Without a doubt. We've talked with Coach Ficca, we talked with Coach Ortmeyer of, hey, if you're having difficulties filling those final spots, it's kind of difficult to find that diamond in the rough towards at least near that start of the school year, or at least that fall semester, so to speak. So timing also, too, is going to play a big role on this, where you can't really drag your feet. You got to find a definitive answer right now for your athletes, but also, too, for that incoming coach, or whether it is Dwayne Salisbury as your new head coach out there at LCCC. You gotta make this official as soon as possible, so they can get their feet under them, get rolling, and again, get those athletes over there.
And if you do go the route of Coach Salisbury, I mean, again, here's another guy that knows the Region 9 ropes. He's been through these wars. Again, too, Coach Salisbury and Coach Ficca. And again, with the JC coaches, I mean, their job, obviously is to win these conferences and move on to the national tournament. But also, too, your job is to move these guys on to the next level.
Yeah.
After JC. And again,
which Coach Ficca absolutely did.
Yeah, and I mean, in our 3 years that we've covered LCCC, look at the players that moved on. And again,
a team that was 12-19 last year saw, we saw the big man of David Applegren move on to Wofford.
We saw Tyrese
Potoma move on to Cleveland State. We've seen, beforehand of where
Zaire Mateen,
Northern Illinois, you saw with Talaferro move out to Fairfield. Again, they've been able to move those players, whether they're having a bad season or a good season. He's been able to move them on to
the Maine Bears. So again, it's again the thing that, in addition to these guys getting their education taken care of, they have been able to move up, whether it's a D2, an NIA, or in Division I. This is what this program has done at LCCC. It's been able to graduate them, get their associate arts, and then or AS, and then move on to the next level. So you look at the job that has been done by Coach Ficka and Coach Salisbury. They have been a very good partnership for Laramie County Community College for the last 14 years. Dwayne will now be entering his 15th year, but again, he has the interim tag.
No.
Again, we have to ask Dr. Cindy Henning, will a nationwide search be underway as of today? Has this job been posted? Don't know.
Yeah. Again, hopefully, it is very recent news. Obviously, again, things have to be put in place. Obviously, again, the whole world's kind of at a standstill, but we'll try and get more information about what is going to be the future right now. Again, as we now search for a new head coach, or at least that official, no longer have that interim, at least wording in front of it, find that new head coach there at LCCC for the men's basketball program. So again, it's just interesting times right now where, it's a new era over there for Golden Eagle basketball.
Well, and again, our thanks once again to Coach Ficka, who again was always at our beckoning call.
Yeah.
And Coach Salisbury has been there too. I know all the bus rides we've had that opportunity to sit down and pick Coach Salisbury's brain on issues or situations or just team in general. And again, if that interim tag is taken off, so be it. I think he's a very capable bench boss for the Golden Eagles program. If he's not, then I'm sure he will land somewhere else as well because, again, he's got a wealth of basketball knowledge. And, again, he has both those guys, both Coach Ficka and Coach Salisbury, have the respect that go along with being a coach, even in the JUCO ranks.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, they have the contacts of plenty, whether it is from the next level or, again, within at least Division I NJCAA basketball.
They picked up a lot of connections through their years, too. So, again, whether they pick up a phone, go to the social media sites, whatever the case may be.
Granted, we've seen in this own Region 9, whether it's on the women's or men's side, we've seen coaches that were, at McCook now we're down in Lamar. Or we've seen that shift as well, too, of, hey, is there another men's opening somewhere in the Region 9 South? Could we see Coach Ficka on the opposite side this time with another team in this Region 9? That could also, too, be a possibility.
Yeah, and again, his coaching reputation will speak for itself. Yeah, the last two seasons haven't been one to write home about, but again, too, he's been through these wars. He knows what it takes to win. And again, did he have all of the arsenal available to him this year at LCCC? Well, we're not going to make excuses, but the answer to that question is no. He did not have all the arsenal available to him.
Again, some of those scouted players, recruits, did not suit up. Again, there was
not pan out.
Yeah, did not pan out as well, too. Again, it happens. You have those seasons, but it is a job that is based on wins and losses as well, too. Again, that is the key thing right now, but it's going to be interesting to see what direction LCCC does go in the future with this of, what are we committed to? Are we looking for someone that has a history of winning? Are we looking at someone that is fresh into the coaching position to kind of cut his teeth on with being the new head coach at LCCC? What is the direction that this athletic department, again, it's not solely on the shoulders of Dr. Henning. Again, it is a hiring committee out there, so we'll see what that committee decides on of what direction it's going to be best for men's basketball.
And again, too, even though the legislature this year, again, turned their back on the RAC.
They turned their back on the bill due to the fact of the UW pool.
I understand, but they turned their back on the RAC, okay? And that's the way I'm going to phrase it. But the thing is, too, the job down here is still attractive, Nick. And again, look at Coach Olness coming from Gillette, where he established a very good soccer program up there.
Yeah.
And again, too, he was in contact with Coach Gardner, and Coach Gardner said, hey, you know what? I think you're going to be a good fit. Boom, came down here. Again, the basketball program at LCCC is a very good program. W's not aplenty over the last couple of years. But, again, look at how many games that we did this year, Nick, with the men.
I don't even want to count. It was a lot.
No, but what I'm saying is, for 20 minutes, for 26 minutes, for 30 minutes, this team was battling top teams that were nationally ranked or teams that were the top dogs in the North.
Those are Coach Ficka teams, though, that we've known of where Whether it was this season, last season, we saw that where they went toe-to-toe with a few of those top 5 Casper Sheridan squads where, almost pulled off the upsets. We saw that a couple times, but then, yes, they petered out. They got gassed out because due to those freshman legs, without a doubt. We've seen that whether it's this year, last year, the year before that. Again, he puts out very competitive teams. It's just how far deep can that team go in a game? How competitive, how gassed out are they going to be when they're taking on some of these top dogs? Again, Coach Ficka's 200th win at LCCC was against nationally top-ranked, I do believe at the time.
Western Nebraska.
Number 23, in Western Nebraska. They're in the rack.
And that was on a Tyrese Patoma three-pointer right at the buzzer.
But it was an upset where that team went 12-19 last year.
So, again, you look at what has gone on at LCCC, what we have seen over the last 3 years, and, yeah, it looks like it's a decline, but also, too, the quality of basketball that we have seen. And again, too, and this is showing respect for the other teams, too. When you have sophomore-laden teams, Gillette, Casper, Sheridan,
Western,
yeah, and again, the job that Steve Sosa did over there this year. But again, you look at those 4 programs where they have a lot of sophomores. They have been through the wars for 2 years now. Where we had guys, again, look at Eric Oliver. Eric Oliver looked like a seasoned vet from day one that he stepped onto the court for the Golden Eagles. But also, too, he wore down. And a couple of injuries.
He wore out a bit. He had slumps early on when he was starting to at least get the filling out process of playing JUCO basketball.
But he had nobody to help him. And then remember what Coach Ficka said, the guy was putting in 35, 36, 40 minutes a game.
But again, he's also a phenomenal athlete, without a doubt. We know that he did. If he was tiring out at the end of the season, it didn't show.
No, but the body took a lot of abuse.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And again, I remember on the three-pointer where he came down wrong on his ankle, but he came back the next game to play. The concussion, unfortunately, did not pass the protocol. That, the body just once in a while just says, I can't go on any further. And again, he's young. Me, I'd have been gone for the whole year. Him, it's like just a couple of weeks. We do need to take a timeout. We're going to come back and news out of Laramie, and we'll be back after this here on Wyoming Sports Talk Today. Back to Wyoming Sports Talk Today. We are live streaming on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. The news out of Laramie before all of this came about was Alan Edwards being replaced at the University of Wyoming after 4 seasons. And his last, again, figure his first 2 seasons after taking over for Larry Chiat, he had 21 seasons.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years, he went 8-24, and then this year rallied the team to go 9-24. I mean, we didn't think the team. I mean, we barely thought they were going to get a win.
Again, those wins came also too that added at least a little boost. Was there at the tail end of the Mountain West Conference,
and the team stepped up for Coach Edwards, showing the respect that they had for the
that,
coach, and they knew he was on the hot seat all year.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, they stepped up at that opportune time to kind of at least shine and spotlight. But again, we knew it wasn't going to help with Coach Alan Edwards. But again, that was. We knew this was going to at least happen if the season went as it did. Well, it did. And, yes, Coach Alan Edwards, as we've talked about, we've mentioned plenty of times that, yes, he is gone. But now we know who is going to replace Alan Edwards as the head coach, and that being now out of Northern Colorado, the former Bears head coach, guy that is – he knows how to win in the AA. Let's be plain.
He's 3-0 in the AA.
He's 3-0 with his Northern Colorado Bears, or former Northern Colorado Bears, and that being head coach Jeff Linder, where he now takes over the program there for the Wyoming Cowboys, where folks around the state, or at least Cowboy fans in general, pretty happy with this hire. And again, I think that of the names that were tossed out, the possibilities, we'll see. Not going to hand the crown immediately, saying this guy is going to make this team an NCAA at least opportunist program over there in Laramie. Time will tell. Again, this is something where, you proved yourself in the Big Sky with Northern Colorado. Again, that's the Big Sky Conference, not a basketball powerhouse.
No,
not a basketball powerhouse at least conference, without a doubt. So we'll see what he can do now in Mountain West Conference play, where you're going to see the likes of San Diego State, team that was in the top 5 nationally ranked.
All right.
You got Utah State, that's been kind of a consistency. New Mexico's getting back into that relevancy.
Boise State is always near the top.
CSU is trying to elevate themselves. UNLV still at the bottom, but they are back in the day they were known as the powerhouse, and they're trying to get back to that level as well too.
And Fresno has been a basketball power, and they had an anomaly year this year. Really, if Air Force is, Air
Force is not known for its basketball.
They're not known for their basketball, but there are years that they sneak up on you, and this is
they did at least to Wyoming this year.
Here's where we're at with Coach Linder, and again, I think this is a very important hire during the tenure of Coach Tom Berman. Simply for the fact that you got to put butts in seats. That's what's been seriously lacking. And again, this is not Alan Edwards' fault. This goes back to Larry Shyatt. Larry Shyatt was, again, good teams. They weren't great. They were good teams, but they weren't drawing crowds. And again, with today's technology, Nick, we've gone through this discussion thousands of times.
Today's technology, the availability of TV, but also, too, again, it is Laramie, Wyoming, and with what this winter was, how many times has I-80 closed this year? It seemed like every single day I-80 has been closed from Cheyenne to Laramie.
But people always found a way to get to the Arena Auditorium. There was a reason to go to the Arena Auditorium, the Dome of Doom, first and foremost.
But I'm just saying, though, it is now that day and age. And, again, we were in an interesting winter this year where there's a forecast for snow. I'm not going. Cool.
And why didn't you go?
The game's on the 18th.
But you didn't go because they were, at that time, 5-19. You didn't care.
I'm still not. Again, granted, this is a known fact that, again, not diehard brown and gold fan here with the Wyoming Cowboys, but even talk with some of those Cowboy fans of, hey, if that team was better, is it worth the risk of traveling in those kind of treacherous, at least roads of where we see that I-80, especially that stretch, could be pretty dicey.
Well, and again, too, we look back and we were talking about.
And again, now you're talking about my generation.
I know, but we're talking about
now is going to be buying up those season tickets potentially. Again, as now I approach at least being 30 now, at least coming up this August, where you're a little bit more established. You're making those families and everything. Where, hey, are they going to be buying up season tickets, or again,
right now probably not?
Where I'm at of, hey, I can find the game on my cell phone. I can find it some way from the comfort of my home, and I don't have to waste money.
But you look back when they retired Finis Dembo's number. Again, big celebration. And you don't know who Finis Dembo is. I mean, you know him, but
I know the
But
name,
again,
yeah.
I saw him play. I was there. Okay? I'm 62. And again, the fans, the diehard fans of Wyoming are now aging or have passed away.
Yeah.
And again, the second generation of Wyoming Cowboy fans are not as diehard as mom and pop were.
Yeah.
That's the second generation. Then you also have a lot of transplants that are moving into the state. So they really haven't adopted the Wyoming Cowboys as their team. They like the Wyoming Cowboys, but are they going to go out of their way for the Wyoming Cowboys, especially when they're mediocre? No. And again, like you said,
if
you're one of those fans.
If I was not in the media position that I was, or at least covering Wyoming athletics, again, if I was just average Joe citizen, where again I went to the University of Idaho, where again I am a Vandal fan, so to speak. Again, I'll follow Idaho athletics. But yes, again, I live here in the state of Wyoming. Yes, I'm curious to see what the Cowboys do, without a doubt. And again, this was me even when I was living in Las Vegas, where I have more Idaho Vandal athletic gear than I do Wyoming Cowboy gear, but I still sat by and go, okay, what are the Cowboys doing? I attended UNLV versus Wyoming just out of curiosity for both football and basketball, just to see when those teams were in town there in Las Vegas. But it is without a doubt where, yes, it is that interesting time where those diehard fans are dwindling here in the state. They're not close by to head on over to Laramie, or at least don't want to take that opportunity. And again, TV contracts, the opportunity to live stream, video stream, whatever the case may be, from the comfort of your own home without having to spend the time, effort, and money to head over to Laramie, that also too does hurt.
But again, with the Electric Man being honored at halftime back against New Mexico, and we're looking at a little over 5,000 fans showing up for this. Again, when Finis Dembo and that group played, first when they went to the NIT in his sophomore year, crowds were always good. Mm-hmm. Their junior year, when they went to Sweet 16, were big crowds. And again, we had the BYUs, we had the Utahs back in the old WAC days to, and CSU used to be, a 12,000 crowd no matter what.
CSU is still your big crowd, though, of the year, without a doubt.
And it didn't draw diddly. And then you go and you look at their senior year, when Benny D's first year, that was a tough ticket because big things were expected from that team. And I do believe they went 26-5. They lost in the first round.
But go back in that day, though, where, again, you have to – it's kind of like inflation of money where, hey, cool, it cost a nickel back in the day, but here it is as of 2020.
But we were making a nickel back in the day, too.
But again, I'm not even talking about financials, but look back in the day where, you look towards the dishes of the world, direct TVs, even with what Spectrum's doing or Charter, whatever the hell it's called nowadays. But you look at – the availability, the options to now watch the game remotely from your home, where, again, it's no longer just isolated to cable box. It is now, hey, if you got satellite, you can watch it wherever.
But also, too,
if you got a cell phone, you can watch it there. You can listen to it here. You again, compare that to back in the day where those options weren't available, where those fans, your option was to hope that it was on TV every once in a while, or you were primarily forced to go out there. But also,
too, the schedule back then was a lot better. They keep dilly-farting with it right now, okay? And here's what I mean.
Well, the schedule's consistent
They
across.
used to be Thursdays and Saturdays, okay? Thursday and Saturday, you kind of had a chance to plan out your weekend. You could make it a weekend by staying in Laramie, or in our case, driving home on a Thursday night and then going back again Saturday, whether it was an afternoon or whether it was an evening game. So they were consistent on Thursdays and Saturdays for the WAC. Now the Mountain West Conference comes in, and they got TV contracts for this. They've got special nights for that. Your schedule's all jimmied around.
It's money, though, for these universities.
It's money for the conference, which you have to share.
Okay, but it's still monies that go to that university.
But how much gate do you lose in the process? Does it all balance out, though, Nick? Do you lose it at the gate when you got 2,000 people there as opposed to having 10,000? That's 8,000 bodies that are not there, and those were legit.
Again, without
10,000 to 11,000
not knowing
people.
Actual ticket prices, or at least what a season ticket costs, or again, how did Wyoming, with how bad the season was, did they probably end up, especially with the TV contracts and everything, probably end out, at least in the black, so to speak, this year, I think there's probably a good possibility due to the fact that, yes, hey, we have CBS Sports Network or we have the AT&T Rocky Mount or whatever.
Disagree, because again, you don't have any monies coming in from the NIT. You don't have any monies coming in from the NCAA. Because again, you would have San Diego State and Utah State representing the Mountain West in the NIT. In the NCAA. That would have been at least first round monies that they would share with the conference. I don't know how many other teams would have made the NIT. Again, those are monies that are split amongst the teams.
You're talking again of what ifs, but it is a scenario right now of TV contracts for this year, where again Wyoming got showcased plenty of times on TV. Where
for basketball,
yeah, for basketball without a doubt. Again, TV contracts, they're worth a lot. Again, we're talking,
and again, it's a shared
tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
It's a shared proposition with all of the teams of the Mountain West. Don't think they're getting piles of cash out of this. You're losing more at the gate. And I think we've had that discussion before with Athletic Director Tom Berman, where sometimes it becomes a wash.
I don't think it's anything if it's for Cowboy basketball where with the lack of attendance out there that they finish in dire needs of in the red. I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I think these contracts are in place to make sure that it is.
I agree with you, but I don't
for the San Jose States of the world.
I don't think they're in the black as much as you think they are. They might have made.
I don't think they made millions.
They made a couple bucks out of it, yeah. But you're not there to make a couple of bucks.
I think right now for universities and how where we're seeing these conferences move to these TV contracts and make these massive deals to get on some of those big names. Hence the reason why Mountain West Conference is now trying to partner with CBS Sports Network, or at least that's one of the kind of bigger options. And again, the fluctuation with the ESPN contracts and all that stuff. It is that scenario that they're trying to make a buck out of it without a doubt, and they're trying to, in my opinion, how things are moving. You're basically saying, hey, we get this money, and then whatever we get in attendance, that's just added bonus.
But also, too, the Cowboys, where they lacked in attendance this year, was they did not have the big season ticket buyers. And again, they may have averaged 2,500 season tickets. The Wyoming Cowboys, and don't kid yourself on this, Nick, the Wyoming Cowboys need the walk-ups. That's where they make their money, on the walk-ups. They didn't have them this year because the product on the floor was not acceptable to somebody paying $20 a seat.
And again, you need a successful program. You need a team that's winning, and not even just, hey, here's above 500 record. I think right now with the sour taste in a lot of fans, at least mouths right now, if this is something in the next couple seasons of, hey, for Coach Linder, if you finish just above 500, don't really do anything postseason-wise, I think you're going to still see the same crowds that no one cares.
Yeah, again, you got to build it. They will come. And again, if you start winning, we've seen bandwagon fans. They jump on the bandwagon.
It's a fickle fan base without a doubt. That, again, if your team's winning, they're there. If they're not, they're not. They're going to turn their backs on you without a doubt. But right now, I think Cowboy basketball is in that dire strait right now to get fans out there to the AA. You got to win immediately.
Yeah, and the pressure's on Jeff Linder right now.
Yeah.
Again, he's got a good crew coming back, stable. Whoever he's working on, trying to recruit to come out to Laramie, good for him. But he's going to have to be an impact coach immediately. We do need to take a timeout. We will be back with Dr. Cindy Henning, Interim Athletic Director at Laramie County Community College, after a timeout right here on 1480 KRAE and Wyoming Sports Talk today. And welcome back to Wyoming Sports Talk today. Again, broadcasting via Periscope, via Twitter, and again on YouTube. We bring on our next special guest, Interim Athletic Director at Laramie County Community College, Dr. Cindy Henning. Cindy, nice to talk with you once again. I wish we could be talking on better terms, but again, news coming out of LCCC today. The parting of the ways of head basketball coach Jason Ficca and LCCC. I know really not much can be said at this time, but can you give us an idea a little bit on what brought this all about?
We just have expectations for the performance of our athletic teams, and we're just looking forward to the future success of our men's basketball program.
So, and again, as we were just kind of throwing the analogy back and forth, same thing that happened over in Laramie with Alan Edwards. Even in the JUCO ranks, W's and L's do stand for a lot, right?
Yes, I think anybody that works in any level of collegiate athletics, the product that you put on the floor is an important part of what you're doing as a coach.
So, again, after this season where only 4 wins, as we saw with the men's basketball program, and again, after last season only winning 12 wins, at least seeing 12 wins for LCCC, we just wanted to break down this news alert that came from Troy Rumpf with you, at least Dr. Cindy Henning, where, again, as our understanding is that Dwayne Salisbury, the assistant coach under head coach Jason Ficca, will be the interim coach for the time being, but is there a time length with that? Also, too, on top of that, is the position kind of open to all around the nation? Is a nationwide search right now underway for a new head coach for LCCC?
No, what we determined was in the best interest of our men's basketball program was to have Dwayne step in as our interim head men's basketball coach. He will have that position through next season. We're actually kind of mirroring what we did with the search for our head women's soccer coach to try to really find and get the best time to get a permanent head coach in place, so that we would actually start the search for our permanent head men's basketball coach. It would probably start around next January, so that at the conclusion of the season, we would be appointing, not appointing, that's the incorrect word. We would be naming who our new permanent head men's basketball coach is at LCCC. So, and Coach Salisbury, effective today, is the interim head men's basketball coach, and then he will coach through next season, and he has the opportunity, as everyone else does, to apply for the permanent position. And when we get to that part of the process, yes, it will be a nationwide search like all of our searches have been.
Cindy, this is a unique time when a decision like this is made, the parting of the ways. Usually, as an athletic director, you would get together with that freshman crew that would be possibly coming back to complete their sophomore season, or Coach Salisbury would get together with his guys, but there's nobody on campus right now to talk about it. So how are you getting together with these individuals to let them know what has happened at LCCC?
So what we did, we actually worked really diligently to make sure our players and our athletic department were aware of this before anything was made public. And I know I talked to Dwayne. I've actually talked to Dwayne a couple times today, and he has spoken to each of the players as well. And so we've already, started started those contacts, and we'll be continuing that process. We have a system that we use for communicating with our student athletes. So that's how they were notified of the transition of the men's basketball program. And then I'll be using that same platform as a way to reach out to those individual players again as well.
So at least we'll get away from the, at least breaking news over there at LCCC and talk more about what's kind of the future hold for new interim head coach Dwayne Salisbury, but also too for other athletic, at least head coaches over there at LCCC, where, you know, as we know that the sports world is kind of shut down right now, and again from at least the NCAA and NJCAA ranks, understanding that everything's kind of at a freeze, especially on the at least athletic side, whether it is from recruiting, visits, all that goes and encompasses to get athletes to LCCC or any other at least colleges around this nation. But, you know, for Dwayne, for Coach Ortmeyer, for other coaches at LCCC, what's kind of the future looking like right now? What is kind of the timeline right now as we kind of live life day by day, news update by news update of when can they go out and recruit? Can they recruit right now virtually, or what's kind of the processes right now?
Yeah, so right now has to be the strangest time for recruiting, because everything right now for NJCAA mandate has to be done virtually. There is no face-to-face recruiting able to occur unless you consider FaceTime face-to-face. It's all being done virtually, so email, phone calls, video chat, those sorts of things, and so it's that way for all of our coaches and all the coaches that they're recruiting against, or recruiting, in the competition for, you know, the various student athletes. And that, so it's definitely a very interesting time, you know, and they can't go out to watch student athletes. So in some ways they'll have to be, in some ways even I think even a higher diligence, because you're going to see, you know, videos of athletes and then being able to really see maybe multiple videos of the athletes and talking to their coaches, which are all things that they do already. But I think in this very unique situation, really digging for, you know, details is going to be a really, really important part of the process to make sure, regardless of the sport that you're coaching, that you're bringing in the best student athletes. And so actually in earlier conversation I had with Dwayne today, we were talking about you know, the recruiting services that have not now gone, like the rest of the world's gone virtual, and so getting him access and membership to those services, because that's the only way things are happening right now, and so we're on that and moving forward with it.
You know, Cindy, going on my 35th year here in Cheyenne, and looking at what happened with the legislature. And again, I know the LCCC family has to be saddened. And again, I'm sometimes not shocked by the legislature. And I said, you know, the RAC was sacked by our legislature. I know their first priority was the University of Wyoming, but doggone it, when are we going to get a little you know, help from the state of Wyoming over there?
You know, that was one of the times I hated having to send an email to let the people in our department and area know that unfortunately our legislators couldn't come to an agreement to even be able to, you know, if they would have even just been able to move it to the governor's desk, then there could have been further conversation and that sort of stuff. And, you know, and so we just have to continue to move forward. And, you know, whether we start a capital campaign, or if we, find multiple donors that are willing to put some money towards us. We have to be willing to explore some other options, and that's all just going to be. That's actually part of the things I've been tasked with as in this interim role, and so reaching out with our foundation office and that we'll try to start putting some things in place. Probably not right now because there's some other things that are kind of taking top seed of importance and that sort of stuff, but it's definitely still on the stove, I guess you would say, and obviously recognize that it's a need that we desperately have, and we just have to continue fighting away, working with our community and legislators, and seeing what we can make happen in the future.
Yeah, without a doubt. Again, it all came down to the UW swimming pool of why it was shut down. Again, the funding for the RAC, again, cut down by the legislator. But, talk about funding for LCCC, where, upcoming, at least it was supposed to, in about 5 days, that being the Blue and Gold Bash, which, again, we've announced, you announced, the LCCC has announced that, again, it has been postponed due to the recent events of, again, with the COVID-19 situation around at least the globe. Speaking of which, of the Blue and Gold Bash, is it just postponed to a time to be determined, or is it something that those folks that wanted to help at least fund student athletes at LCCC and also those scholarships, is that opportunity now gone by the wayside due to what has happened here in the world?
No, we have postponed it. Our committee, we did meet last week. Our organizing committee met. And we wanted to give ourselves time to really see, when you turn on the news, the things you hear are, every second it seems like it's changing. And so we really just wanted to give ourselves time to see how things develop. And then we fully intend at the appropriate time to hold the Blue and Gold Bash. It's a really important event, and our committee has done so much work on it, and it's intended to directly benefit our student athletes in our athletics program, and so it's definitely something that we are going to hold. We just have to find when that time is that we're going to be able to hold it based on everything that's happening. And again, just a shout out to our committee members, because they did a phenomenal amount of work, and we were, felt like things were really ramping up and leading up to a really great event. And so it was a sad moment when we had to postpone it, but we also recognized that we needed to postpone it for everybody's health and safety, and that's what we're committed most to.
Cindy, you mentioned, going back to the RAC, where again, and you've been at LCCC for a while, so you know the answer probably better than I do. But you made a very good comment with the RAC of private funding, and again, it's been shot down through the voters. Again, the legislature was not an assist to us this time out. Is that probably the route that to make this RAC funding possible, that it's going to have to be done through the private donation portion of the program?
It may be. I haven't really had in-depth conversations with Dr. Schaefer or Lisa Trimble, who heads our foundation office, about that with all the recent events. It just hasn't been on that priority list when having those meetings. I think it's something that we can definitely explore. I know other institutions I've been at, that is one of the routes they've taken, is to do private funding / capital campaigns to raise the money in a different way. And so I think it's definitely something that we will explore, and who knows in a lot of ways, but yeah, short answer would be, yeah, I think it's something that can be explored.
And final thought from me for you, Cindy. Again, we appreciate you joining us here today. Again, talking about umpteenth amount of at least topics right now. Again, as we got a lot to at least cover of what's happening over there at LCCC. But you talk about more important things of what's happening. And again, obviously with the situation that is happening here in the world and again here in the United States. But we look at not only just the student athletes, but the students over there at LCCC. Some of those student athletes as well too that compete for women's basketball, women's soccer, whatever it may be for the Golden Eagles. Again, might not be from the local area, might also too be from internationally around. But what's kind of been the scenario over at LCCC? Have they been told to kind of isolate over there in their dorms? Have they been kind of released to go back home if they wanted to? What's kind of been the policy with what has been happening right now, again, as it kind of evolves day by day, and what we've been learning from, not only from the federal side, but also too on the local side with our governor and also too on the city side from Mayor Orr?
We have it's really been on a case-by-case individual basis. So we do have some of our students that have remained in the residence halls, and they have, just like the rest of us, it's been, quarantined, and the college is working to have those students that are able to fully move out of the residence halls, to do that in a safe manner so that we don't have, a whole lot of people showing up at one time. And then from there, it's just, like I said, it's just been a case by case basis. We've had several of our student athletes, international student athletes that were able to safely get home. And we've worked with them to make sure that they were able to get home safely. And then we've communicated with them and asked them to communicate with us during their trip to make sure that they didn't run into any issues or concerns and those sorts of things. And so some of them are back home, some of them are in our residence halls, and that's where they will stay. And we're providing, food, that sort of stuff. Our dining hall has reworked itself, and I guess the best way to describe it, reworked itself so that they can continue to meet the needs of our students that the residence halls are to affect their homes. And then our college itself, our faculty members have been working really hard to move classes as appropriate onto online or hybrid formattings, and talking to their students and keeping them informed of changes. And that's what we're going to continue to do, is just continue to serve our students, and help them get through and help them continue to move forward, just like we're going to help our community do that.
Plenty of toilet paper also too in those residence dorms. Hopefully, fingers crossed, right, Cindy?
Yes, I'm fairly certain we have. I know we have that. So.
Well, we want to, Cindy, thank you so much for joining us again on short notice today. And again, obviously, the breaking news out of LCCC with the departure of head coach Jason Ficca. Again, thank you for updating us on a lot of things that are going on over at Laramie County Community College. So I do appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time this afternoon.
Well, we appreciate you reaching out and letting us talk about LCCC and Golden Eagle Athletics, and we just really appreciate everything you guys do for us.
All right. Thanks so much. Dr. Cindy Henning, LCCC Interim Athletic Director, joining us here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. We're going to take one last time out. We're going to wrap things up about baseball when we come back after this here on Wyoming Sports Talk today.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of LCCC family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
If you're looking for fun and adventure, Kia of Cheyenne is the place to start, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will help you find it. I'm AJ Miller, and the 2019 Kia Sorento will give you what you need to make things happen. This vehicle has plenty of power, all-season traction, safety features, technology, and comfort for any road you're on. The Kia Sorento offers plenty of standard features for the money, and we're all about saving you money. Come in, call 775-0123, or go to KiaofCheyenne.com, and we'll make it easy.
At this time, we want to thank all our fine sponsors of Wyoming Sports Talk today: Taco John's of Cheyenne, Kia of Cheyenne, Platte Valley Bank on Vanda High, as well at the corner of College and Pershing, Chick-fil-A, Windmill and Delrange across from Powers Field, and Menards, Medicap Pharmacy, Bluegrass Circle next door to Texas Roadhouse, B&B Appliance and TV at 714 Central Avenue in Cheyenne, Lennox Auto Body on Dunn Avenue, the Auto Glass and Detail Center over on Pershing Boulevard, First Tier Bank, 1508 Stillwater Avenue, 1507 Stillwater Avenue, Suite D in the Greenway Commons is the home of Mondello's Pizzeria. And when we do get back to that time of year, our scoreboard, well, again, they've been great sponsors for many, many years. We want to thank our friends over at Pepsi of Cheyenne.
If we have a scoreboard anytime soon.
You know,
Everything's baseball is anticipating the start opening day after Memorial Day.
Or even mid-May. That's the earliest.
Again, basketball's said, hey, we're looking June possibly. NHL,
hockey.
Yeah, hockey's been kind of quiet a bit.
XFL is done.
XFL is done, but they will commit to a season 2. We know that without a doubt. So, again, it's just interesting times right now. Again, we just go day by day of, update after update of whether it's on the federal side from Governor Gordon, from Mayor Orr here in town of, what
President Trump, it'll start first with him.
That's why I said the federal level, if you listen. But, again, we'll see what happens as we go day by day. Again, it's pretty much of you hear one thing, you hear another and all this. But do want to, before we move on to whatever next topic, do want to recap folks that, again, may have just tuned in or, again, did not hear Dr. Sidney Henning's at least words early on regarding at least the departure of head coach Jason Fickett from the men's basketball program over there at LCCC. Again, he has departed mutually with LCCC. Again, his contract will be bought out, or at least, again, until June 2020. As we just heard from Dr. Henning, that assistant coach Dwayne Salisbury will now be the interim new head coach of LCCC men's basketball program. That's effective for the entire season for at least a year.
2021 season.
Yeah, so the 2020-2021 season, he will be the head coach there at LCCC. Then they will open up that position for a nationwide search to find if it will be Dwayne or someone else as at the helm.
So, wrapping things up for me on this side, and let's talk about Major League Baseball, because I know I've been watching a lot of MLB Network and really watching a lot of old baseball. Matter of fact, I was watching I think it was WBC 2017 baseball series that they had. But when the season returns, and the discussion's been out there, and you have to think about this too, Nick. Whether it's mid-May, Memorial Day, it doesn't matter. The season's going to probably be condensed down to, like they had during the strike year, probably about 144 games or so.
Potentially.
But what's going to happen, and it's been brought up quite a bit, are doubleheaders. Usually Sunday doubleheaders would happen. And the discussion has been, will it be one during the week? Will it be on Sundays? And me personally, I would like to see maybe a Sunday doubleheader one week, next week no, and then the next week another doubleheader. And again,
I don't think doubleheader is smart.
Let me finish on my point on the doubleheaders. Before, on a doubleheader, today's doubleheader, you would go to a noon game, watch the game, and then exit, and then come back, buy another ticket, and watch the 6 o'clock game. Day-night doubleheaders. Doubleheaders, what are going to possibly evolve, will be the old day doubleheaders that I used to go to when I was a kid, where you would buy a ticket for 2 games. Reason being, there's going to be, again, we're into a situation dare I say, recession. But again, folks are losing their jobs. 286,000 people filed for unemployment benefits last week alone. There are some tough times still ahead during this COVID-19, pandemic.
All right.
But let me finish.
Let
me finish my point. The point is, families are strapped. They're going to be strapped. And to go to a ball game, a $200 family of 4 ball game, to get 2 games for the price of 1 makes a lot of sense. And you got to draw fans back somehow, some way, Nick. And again, you got to have some type of special events going on.
Again, that's up to commissioner out there with Major League Baseball, same with NBA, same with the NHL, same with the NFL right now, where, again, every league, and I'll even include Major League Soccer when that gets back into service, every single league has got to take that into account of what do you do for make-up games. The NFL right now is not going to be affected by that potentially, but, for the leagues that are supposed to be underway right now, again, do you do doubleheaders in baseball? Is that even going to be a thing? Who knows right now?
There's a question mark.
Yeah, again, it's up to those who are higher ups. They're in those respective leagues of how they determine it. But yeah, without a doubt, again, if you want fans who are going to be, at least your kind of diehards or those who, kind of the middle class where, hey, they're buying up those tickets that now have struggles, or at least financially they gotta say, hey, no Rockies, no Giants, no nothing. We gotta focus money somewhere else. Yeah, without a doubt, you got to figure out here's some sort of plan that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg during these times, but an option to get you out to the ball game to enjoy, or at least get away from the worries of the world, and again, just kind of enjoy moment of life right there, whether it is basketball, hockey, football, baseball, whatever it may be, whatever it is you're choosing. I think without a doubt that I would assume that leagues are already in that process right now to say, hey, here's what's happening. I understand, again, I was anticipated to go to Chicago, or at least go attend the Brewers and Mets game coming up. That was April 9th. That has been determined that, hey, it's not going to happen. But my understanding is, those tickets are going to be either refunded, or either when those makeup games are determined for that matchup, hey, you get it completely free.
Did you say Brewers and Mets?
Brewers and Mets in Milwaukee.
Oh, you were going to go Chicago / to Milwaukee. Okay.
Milwaukee's like 100 miles away from Chicago, so it wasn't that far. But
I got kind of confused. I was saying it was the Cubs.
Well, I go to Chicago and then up.
But
either way, though, again, you would think that these leagues are getting that, at least getting those things set up right now in place, a contingency plan to determine, all right, here's schedule lengths, for basketball and for hockey. Do they just go automatically and say, hey, standings are final, here's the playoffs, get to it? For baseball, do they have doubleheaders? Do they say, hey, here's a discounted season ticket plan, or they figure out payment plans or something like that for season tickets, or do they group in, here's a 4-pack to see 4 games for the price of 1?
Well, and again, too, you treat every day like, and again, I don't mean this in disrespect, but for baseball, you treat every day like it's a strike day, like the strike they had back in '94. Mm-hmm. What you're doing is, each day that this goes on, you kind of back things up a little bit. How do you condense a season? How do you put things together? I do want to say this, though. I do tip my cap to all the major league teams who all chipped into the pot to take care of all of the concessionaires, the vendors, those that are paid personnel at all of these stadiums that will be out of work for about maybe, like you said, almost 2 months now. You think of Florida and you think of Arizona, and again, too, I've been down there. You've been down there for spring training.
It's not even baseball. It's the same with
I understand,
on the
but
NBA,
I'm just saying. Look at the lost revenues at all of these parks. Again, you go to Scottsdale Stadium where the Giants play. That's a 12,000 seat stadium right there. And look how many people work at that place.
But it is also to a scenario right now where you're seeing players. You're seeing some of those. Again, I'll use kind of the quote term of like those higher elites that, hey, you got a couple millions to spare. hey, out of the kindness of your heart, here's that charitable moment for you. And again, without a doubt, they've been able to do it. Whether it's, you see Steph Curry doing it for the Warriors, of investing into the Chase Center for those employees. You saw the Kroenke organization down in Denver for the Pepsi Center of those employees for Nuggets and Avs games down there. Again, you're seeing it through every single league where they're taking care of those entities that do work at those venues to say, hey, yes, we may be out. Again, the games are not happening, but we're going to make sure that you are not suffering because of this,
and you're not forgotten. So
yeah, without a doubt.
And like I said, a tip of the cap to those that are taking care of those that are losing, a paycheck, so to speak.
Yeah.
All right, we do want to wrap things up here on Wyoming Sports Talk today. Once again, thank you to Greg Auman, who joined us earlier. He was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers insider for The Athletic. Again, Tom Brady, the newest Tampa Bay Buccaneer, as we got the insight onto all of that. And again, most recently, Dr. Cindy Henning, LCCC Interim Athletic Director, chatting with us again with the breaking news. If you just joined us, LCCC men's basketball coach Jason Ficca and LCCC parting ways today after this past season. The last couple of seasons have been a little below par for the men's basketball team, so they will move on with interim head basketball coach Dwayne Salisbury. Coach Salisbury now has to go find himself an assistant to help him out on the bench as well, too. So that's going to wrap things up here.
Before we wrap things up, regarding, again, we are not live on the radio. Again, for 1480 KRAE, we will still have Golden Age on that side, 101.1 FM, 1480 KRAE. Again, that's all going to be happening Monday through Thursday. What's primarily going to take place, though, is again, the oldies on KRAE. Again, this show will not be on the air. Regarding also to the live stream of Wyoming Sports Talk today, we will do it. It's going to be kind of sporadic. It's going to depend on if we have guests. If we don't have guests, we're not going on. But again, stay tuned to
let's explain that, Lucy, why we're not doing this. Thanks to the recent barrage of power outages, thanks to Black Hills Energy. And again, we're not the only ones that suffer through this, too. I know for a fact. But thanks to the last couple blips on and off, they blew up our control board. Luckily, I had another one in play here that we could get the radio station back on there. You, being the intelligent one on the live stream side, you got this all rigged up here for today. This was all put together within the last couple of hours, so appreciate you doing that. But again, on the audio side, we were able to salvage our mainstay, 1480 KRAE, 101.1 FM at 1480KRAE.com. But to you, Black Hills Energy, you had all of these years of these power outages because of ice on the lines to figure this out. You got some guys, their pay grades are a lot higher than you and me, Nick, and probably degrees that are a lot farther up than mine to figure out, hey, we got a problem here, Houston. Let's get this figured out. And I wasn't the only one that suffered through this.
That wasn't even my point on everything. But
I just wanted to point that out that Black Hills Energy blew up our control board we had for many years.
We know Black Hills suck. We've talked about that plenty of times. But either way. But either way, though, for Wyoming Sports Talk today, again, we're not gonna bore you with what if scenarios, and again, just me and you to kind of go, what if or what's this? Again, news has obviously been slow. That's why at least I came up with the idea of the virtual March Madness. We'll have others in place to kind of keep you entertained. Again, we're here to entertain, yes, also to inform, but again, it's something, a break away from what's happening, again, the madness in the world. That's why we're bringing you virtual March Madness happening again this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Sweet 16, Elite 8, before we head into Final Four and then our virtual March Madness National Championship game. But if we don't have a guest on, again, we will not come on and bore you to death with what ifs or again, recapping or rehashing something that is going on. Again, we'll just do kind of a clump show like this and have guests on to talk with. Again, that will bring in some insight. We are hoping to have some big names coming down the line, some new head coaches around the area. So, again, stay tuned to our social media sides. Again, how you're watching this, Twitter, @NickWildSports. 1480 KRAE on Facebook, Wyoming Sports Talk Today on Facebook, the 1480 KRAE YouTube channel. Again, it may be sporadic, but kind of bear with us during these times where, again, everything is day by day. Who knows? By tomorrow, we might be doing this live from the house. I don't know.
Hope not.
It worked so far. Again, the Wi-Fi held up on Saturday and Sunday for the games.
I'm credentialed to be here in this building, so there you go.
I'm not worried.
All right. With that all being said, thank you for joining us on the live stream, again on YouTube and also on Periscope via Twitter. For Nick Perotti, I'm Larry Perotti. That's going to wrap up Wyoming Sports Talk today for today.